Coming back to this final panel, we wanted to focus not only on health, but also there's mental health that is a big part of our lives today, especially for our children. And so we wanted to have something to cover neurodivergence. It's complex and difficult. I have a lot of friends who've dealt with it. I have a brother who's been affected by it, and it's something you navigate over a long period of time. It's not like, oh, let's go to the doctor, he's going to diagnose you, you've got a solution, we've got a treatment, and then we move on. There's so many therapies and practices out there to use, and so we just wanted to bring perspectives from 3 experts that can give you and shine light on the different process. So you heard a little bit from Jessica this morning about diagnosis, and so we wanted to invite her to share her process of diagnosing someone who comes into her practice who might be a good candidate for neurodivergence. Maybe that parent doesn't know, is that the right diagnosis, like what am I seeing, and hear from her, like what is she looking for whenever she diagnoses someone. So welcome Jessica back to the stage, and just to remind everyone of her skill set, she's a nurse practitioner, entrepreneur, and founder of the Well-Rooted Collective, an integrative healthcare network focused on root cause and whole body care.
I thought we were all together, so I'm a little intimidated now, but that's okay. No, you're fine.
We're going to just sit over here. You don't want to swear. Yeah, right here.
All right. So, this morning we really honed into just living in a toxic world, right? And knowing what that can look like can be in so many different ways. And the testing can also be done in so many different ways. So I'm going to break down our process a little bit, which varies a little bit between children, adults, and women, but the process is going to be very similar. So when a parent calls us, when you're calling us with an issue, you're going to be met with new patient coordinators that are going to walk you through the entire process of start to finish of what to expect with us. We're going to get your story. This is where we're listening to you, we're honing in, we're figuring out what your direction is and what you're looking for. What kind of testing have you had done already? Who have you already seen? Then we're determining what kind of visit that looks like. We have the ability to do telehealth, we have the ability to do testing in person, so it's just kind of variable on that. Once you meet with the provider, this is where I really want to hone in. The provider is who is going to determine what steps are next. So we can do comprehensive labs, we can do functional testing from urine, we can do functional testing from blood, we can do functional testing from stool. There's a lot of different comprehensive ways that we can do that. So whether we're looking for microbiome, toxins, metals, Lyme disease, mold illness, we kind of determine what that is at your visit. And as functional providers, we're always knowing what our brain's moving quicker than what you're talking. So as you're telling us your story, we're able to determine, all right, I want to order this, I'm going to add this on, and like we're making that mental note, or we're writing it down and saying, okay, this is where my brain's going, because chances are we've seen another kid in a similar aspect. The training has gotten us there. We've gone through it ourselves. This approach, while it maybe seems unique to you, can be something that we see often, right? So having that ability to really focus on your individualized testing is super important. And going back 10 years ago when I started in pediatrics, there wasn't any of this testing that was readily available, at least as well as it is now. So having this all at our fingertips in such a community like ours here, it's a resource that it's not just me, there's other practitioners, right? But like we're all in the same mission to give you answers. So we're wanting that, and we're wanting you guys to trust us and be able to walk through that too. So as we're determining your labs, or we're determining that toxin testing, or we're determining what that stool burden is, then we're figuring out what your long-term plan is going to be. So in some clinics, and I've had people, I just had a family that drove from Missouri. They spent $14,000 in Missouri as a practitioner, and they got nowhere. So I said, I'm going to do no testing on you. I'm going to have you bring every piece of what you did. Bring it to me. That'll be our consult, and let's go from there. And there was enough information, but unfortunately, when we don't have the trained practitioner to determine how to treat that, a lot of information goes missing. So I was able to take all her testing, figure out what was missing, and get her on the right track. And in 6 weeks, we were already seeing success as to why she came in. So it doesn't have to always be this entire thing I talked about earlier and doing all this testing at once. It can be very simple, but we may not need all this comprehensive work, and that's where we determine that. But also along the way, your body's constantly changing. And as I explained earlier with the bucket, if we are up to here with the bucket, we may take down a couple layers and then we get sick again, or something burdens there. There's a stressor in the child's life, and it can set them back, and we have to add a different test to that. So, being a practitioner and being able to work through that process is a blessing for us because we can ensure that we're with you every step of the way. So hopefully that answers some questions in terms of testing, but like I said, it's limitless, and we will always do more if needed, and we will always choose to do less if it's an option. So.
All right, awesome. So next we'd love to welcome Dr. Foss. Dr. David Foss is a neurologically focused pediatric and family chiropractor with over 25 years of experience. He specializes in identifying root neurological causes behind conditions like ADHD, autism, anxiety, and seizures, combining advanced care with a deeply personal passion shaped by his own family's journey.
All right. Do you have my slides?
I have them,
I probably won't use them, but
but we
it's
have
fun.
them. This one, right?
The neuro storm. Yeah, just
Yes,
leave her
you-
right there.
Okay,
That
great.
looks good. That's perfect.
Well, let me get you signed, checked in.
I think. It's coming. All right, hi, I'm Dr. Foss, and gosh, I'm outnumbered quite a bit these days around here, but this is fun to be here. As she said, I have a lot of personal experience with this neurodiverse umbrella that we live in. My oldest brother, his name is Troy, and he's 61, and I discovered going through chiropractic school that he was autistic because my mom had German measles when she was pregnant back in 1964, but we didn't realize what that was in those days. He kind of had a hard time connecting, and he rocked a lot, and he had your typical autism type symptoms. And I remember growing up with that thinking, gosh, there's just some sort of disconnect there. But the story that I really want to share with you is my youngest son, Hayden. And have you ever been where it's like you think you're doing everything right, and there's just something that you don't see, and it kind of hits you right in the gut, and you're like, I should have seen that, or I had no idea. Well, that's exactly what happened with Hayden because, we had a home birth, right? So we're thinking, all right, we're doing home birth. He came out like, any of you guys know Isabel? Isabel, right? Like everybody who hears Isabel, it's like she's like an angel, right? So we had Isabel as our midwife. She was absolutely amazing. It was like, and there was no vaccines. I think Hayden breastfed for 14 years. It was but anyway, so we were doing everything right? And he's 5 years old now. At 3, he had a seizure, a febrile seizure, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm adjusting him. He's breastfed. There's none of this. It was home birth. There was no birth trauma. There's none of this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Well, a few weeks later, he has another seizure, and I'm like, we have to go to the hospital for both of them because they're not stopping, guys. These seizures are like 15 minutes. And usually a seizure is, maybe a minute or two, but then they'll come right out of it. His just kept on going. And then the third one came around. And I'm like, what on earth is going on here? So I call up my friend Tony, Dr. Tony Ebel. Any of you guys know him? He's like, that guy's an awesome rock star. That guy's amazing. I've known him for 15 years. And I was like, gosh, who do I know? And I'm thinking of all these different people. I'm thinking, all right, is there a functional neurologist? Is there somebody over here, and I'm thinking of all these people. And I'm like, wait a minute, Tony, it's right here in front of me again. Like the answer's right here in front of me. So I call up Tony. I'm like, Tony. He's like, yeah, Foss, what's up? And I said, I'm sitting in a hospital here. It's the third time I've been here in the last 4 weeks. I got a kid with these seizures. And he says, oh, no problem, bro. I got you. I'm like, what? I mean, because I'm a pediatric chiropractor too, and I'm thinking I'm seeing the things. But as a mom, sometimes you think, I know what it feels like to feel hopeless and to feel like you thought you had things covered. And when those things that you think aren't cutting the mustard, and you still have this kid with seizures, I was like, I need help. And I called Tony, and I'll never forget, I got you, bro. He's like, I got you, bro. I'm like, all right. So I took him up to see Tony, and then I said, oh, and hey, by the way, I need to know what you know, because obviously I'm missing something here. He's like, I got you that too. I'm like, great, happy day. So I started working with Tony, and I started understanding and seeing what he saw. And then I started working with this other chiropractor, Dr. Jim Clausen, and he started teaching me his techniques and how this all happened, and some of these things that I can do to adjust kids differently. Short story long, my son is having a breakthrough seizure this last February because we're pulling the training wheels off, because I also understand that there's a time and place for medication. And I like to call that training wheels for my son, so he has a little bit of training wheel help. As we're pulling him off this medication, he has a breakthrough seizure. And I was like, all right. And before, when he was having a seizure, I'd come in like, hit that atlas, because I'm a chiropractor, hit that atlas, tap that atlas, and everything's better. And nothing got better the first few times. So this February, he's having a seizure, and I'll never forget it. I hear, David! I'm hearing, it's right away in the morning, it's my wife, and I'm like, what? And Hayden's having a seizure, and he's just sitting there twitching. And I'm like, all right, it's time to put this stuff to the test. So I just held him in my hands, and I put my fingers right on his atlas, right up here. And I just looked at him, and I said, I got you, bro. Hang on. We're going to get through this thing. I got you. Just hang on. And within a few seconds, the seizure goes away. And I was like, oh, that's what I was missing. That's the part that I missed. One, I understood where it was coming from more. Two, there's actual techniques that you need to know. So if the things are frying out and is seizing up here, you don't come in guns a-blazing. You have to come in with a different technique. And so I used that technique. And things start calming down. So to let you know, and then I'll be done. I'm sorry if I'm over my time. One, I don't guess anymore. Our kids are our biggest teachers, our greatest teacher. And thank God for Hayden, because he kicked me in the butt and said, figure this stuff out, Dad. and I figured some things out. And two, I don't guess anymore. We test. So like what Jessica says, we test, and our testing tests the input, what's going on up into the brain, because the seizure is the output. The autism outbursts are the output. The ADHD and the sensory dysregulation is the output. What we're testing is what is signaling up to the brain. The brain is a processor. Garbage in creates garbage out. So we fix the in. So I'm tuning the nervous system, and when you have more music that goes in, the processor works better. That literally makes your brain work better. We're tuning the brain through the spine. It's like a circuit board. I tune up circuit boards. That's what I do. That's my life. That's what God's put me here to do. And he put all of these people in my life to be able to help you guys. So that's what I got. Thank you.
I have to say that I just love that everybody who's spoken is like coming from their own personal, I don't want to say trauma, but like experience.
That's trauma.
Yeah. So next, I'd love to welcome up Amy Mason. She's an author, speaker, and life coach who helps women navigate seasons of change with courage and clarity. She's written over 13 devotional books with more than 1 million copies sold, and currently serves the Director of Communications and Impact at Rising Lights Project. So I was hoping to have her on the panel because so far we've heard a lot about the body, but she's going to be looking at how, as a mom, do we bring our stress level down and think through the lens of mental health and spiritual health. And she also has her own story to share.
Well, I'm so glad to be here, and it's been really fun to meet so many of you at the expo. If I haven't met you again, I'm Amy Mason. I wrote the book Bible Promises for Parents of Children with Special Needs out of my own experience raising a son with neurodivergence. I've been working with families impacted by disability at Rising Lights Project for the last 5 years. We offer day programming for young adults with disabilities, and we offer family support and caregiver support as well. So I do have a QR code up. If you are a mom who has a child with neurodivergence or a disability, this is a great support group locally in the area. I really encourage you to check it out. And I'm a life coach and a health coach, and I love helping women get the results that they've been reaching for without overloading, without stressing out and burning out. And I do one-on-one coaching. I love helping women transform their lives with and open the next chapter with clarity, courage, and self-trust. I'm here today as a mom as well. I have 2 boys who are 18 and 14. I know it says 17, you just turned 18. And my oldest has ADHD, but when he was younger, he had a lot of really complex health issues. He had developmental delays, sensory processing challenges. So I'm here today as a mom who has walked that road, and we did a lot of natural and functional medicine for him and saw incredible results taking a more natural route and approach to treating some of the things that were going on for him. So today I want to talk about how we hold all of this as moms, right? Because we love our kids so much, but it's really, really important that we take care of ourselves and learn to regulate ourselves through this process of caring for our children. So my goal is just to, one, talk about the power of our thoughts and the stories that we tell ourselves, and then also just to learn a few simple ways that we can shift from when we're feeling overwhelmed and stressed to a more regulated and calm place. So just say out loud, how many of you feel like sometimes your brain just does not want to shut down? Like, even when things are technically okay, your brain is still running? Yes? Okay, me too, all the time. But as moms, we're wired to want to protect our kids. And so we get really good at thinking ahead and anticipating our kids' needs. We ask all the questions. When we walk into a room, we're scanning the environment to make sure that it's safe. And we like to think through all the worst case scenarios so that we can be prepared. I mean, when I was a younger mom and I was going to all these different therapy appointments with my kids, I had this giant bag and it had like all the snacks and the drinks and the coloring books and the candy that was for emergency only. But I like to be prepared, right? And that doesn't make us anxious as moms. It means that we're very devoted to our kids. But it's really important that we think about how much weight we're giving to those kinds of thoughts and that kind of thinking. It's said that we have somewhere around 60,000 thoughts a day. So if the majority of our thoughts are playing out worst case scenarios or fears, that can become the lens that you're living in. So your brain believes what you practice the most. So it's really interesting. Our brains know the difference between when we're imagining something going wrong or when we're going through something really challenging, but our nervous system can register the same feelings. So when we're rehearsing fear, our bodies can actually feel as if that thing is happening. So our thoughts don't just reflect reality, they shape how we experience it. So how does this work? A thought can become a story. A story can shape how you feel. We love stories because stories bring meaning, right? And meaning brings feeling. Then how you feel can shape how you respond to things, and how you respond can shape what happens next. So sometimes it's not what's actually happening around us, but the story that we're attaching to it. So here's where we can get a little stuck sometimes. We can get stuck in expectations, what we expect of ourselves as moms. Does anybody hold themselves to really high standards or feel pressure to be perfect sometimes as a mom? Yeah. We believe things about what we should be doing, right? Or we believe we have expectations about where our child should be. Assumptions, we assume that something will go a certain way because it's gone that way before, or it will always go that way again. Or we get attached to needing a specific outcome in order to feel okay. So what can happen is when we have these expectations or assumptions or we're attached to an outcome, when life doesn't work out that way, we can start to feel like we're failing, or we can start to feel like we're out of control. And so it's really important that we learn that that is just a story that we're telling ourselves, and that we can interrupt that story and interrupt those thoughts. So I have this up here, something that helped me a lot when I was starting to feel really stressed and overwhelmed and feel like I was failing as a mom and just it was all too much. I would tell myself, nothing is wrong with me. My nervous system is just overwhelmed. And when I get regulated, I will reconnect with the strength that's already within me. This can be really powerful for just kind of giving yourself a minute to realize the old story, and then you can create a new story. So a verse that's been really important to me on my journey as a mom is Ephesians 3:20 that says, God is able to do infinitely more than I could ask or imagine. And a few years ago, this verse really struck me, and it made me realize what a gift our imaginations are. And it made me question, what am I imagining for myself? What am I imagining for my child? So if all I'm imagining is what could go wrong, then I might be missing what's possible all along. And I had to make it rhyme to make it more memorable. But so the question is, what are we imagining the most? So, as moms, we do hold a lot. So what if the goal when we're going through hard things in life or with our kids isn't to control the outcome, but it's to come back to regulation? What if by coming back to calm, what if we're able to access the capability that we already have? Regulation is really the key to accessing possibilities that we cannot see. So in the next few minutes, I just want to walk through a super simple exercise. If you feel comfortable, maybe close your eyes. And I want you to bring to your mind a challenge that you might be going through. It might be a personal challenge, a professional challenge, a challenge you're going through as a mom. But just bring something to mind. And I want you to notice, what is your brain doing with that? Are you immediately jumping into problem solving? Are you jumping to worst case scenario? Is there an outcome that feels like you have to have in order to feel okay? And I want you to just notice, what are the feelings that come up when you bring this challenge to your mind? And now I just want to gently shift, don't force anything, but I want you to ask yourself now, what if this doesn't go the way that I fear? What if there's more here that I can't see? What if I don't have to carry the entire outcome today? And notice what feelings are coming up for you. I hope that you're feeling just a little bit more calm in this moment, maybe a little more open to possibility. If not, that's okay. This is a tool that can be practiced over time. But what you just did here was two really important things. Number one, you opened yourself up to possibility. And number two, you accessed positive emotions on the spot. This can be a really powerful tool to use when you're feeling overwhelmed, just to bring yourself back to a more grounded place, because we can't always change the circumstances around us, but we can change ourselves within the circumstances. So I'm excited to talk more during our panel, but thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, I would love to open up the floor for questions. Got one over here. Does anybody have a question right off the bat? If not, I have a few. Awesome. So,
Sorry, we're having our own panel discussion over here.
sounds like a plan. You have your microphones turned on?
Check.
Okay, so Jessica, you mentioned earlier today, and then again now, that you walk really closely with parents and you guide them through the treatment process, from diagnosis to hopefully, a better future. Do you ever find that from the initial visit to the next visit that you're having to adjust their treatment plan along the way?
Yeah, so this is good, and I think it comes back to just individualized. So again, where I feel like we're different is that we are checking in every couple weeks, if not more, to ensure what is happening with your child's treatment plan. So you have access to us. We have 24-hour answering service through our providers. We have triage nurses always available, but there's times where maybe something's not going the way that we anticipated, right? And I always use the analogy of a bus. We may be addressing something that's on possibly the fourth seat of the bus that we think is on the first seat, but there's maybe 3 more things in the way. And so those things can start to come out as we're working through the process. And maybe there's more things that are embedded that we weren't aware of based on testing. Testing's not 100%, right? But it gives us a very good idea of where we're going to start. So then we have to shift and we have to adjust, whether that be going down on the amount of supplements that we're taking, stopping things, restarting them one at a time, figuring out what's triggering those symptoms, and then be able to readdress.
So how does that work with somebody who might be coming into your office that is coming from a neurodivergence perspective, where it's an ADHD, breakout behavior, autism? Are you strictly treating the body, or are there other therapies as well that you recommend?
Yeah, no, we recommend definitely a good mix of comprehensive therapies, just depending on what the ailment is. A big one is always chiropractic with this lovely man right here. You're welcome. So chiropractic's big for us. Like I said, and I mentioned it earlier, the nervous system. Like, I cannot even stress the nervous system so much with that. So
Can you put the other slide? Can you put,
delete.
I think a visual on this would be, it's that one. You see the one with the pyramid at the bottom?
Oh, this one.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, there you go. See, we're going to do his presentation now.
All right. I forgot that I had slides, but I think this goes really good with what Jessica's saying. I'm overstepping my bounds.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I felt the female like, what are you doing right now? It's like my wife's sitting right here. I'll be quiet. So sorry. No. No.
Go ahead.
Can I go? Yes. So what she's saying, I'm sorry, is spot on, and it's just like sometimes there might be something on the bus that's there might be something a little bit further downstream, because I like to use a canoe. I'm glad we like each other. That's fun. So one of the things upstream is our autonomic nervous system. That's like the gas pedal, brake pedal. And the gas pedal I like to use is that stress response. The brake pedal is the calming, opening up, rest, digest, detox response. And so a lot of times if we're not balancing that out first, a lot of the things that we're bringing in kind of is like spinning like that circle on your computer while it's waiting and it's waiting and it's spinning. If the autonomics aren't balanced, then it's a lot of the things that we bring on from the outside in might not have the traction that they need to gain, to get them through to the next level.
I love that, and I've definitely used chiropractic myself, and for my own son who had, his was not brain, it was peripheral nervous system that he had struggles with. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of the ladies attending have also used chiropractic. My personal frustration, and this has nothing to do with chiropractic medicine, but I feel like it's a fact of life, is once you do it once, it's not fixed. What do you do after the first time?
Well, and I think that, correct me if I'm wrong on this.
I'm not going to crack you.
Oh, I know you will. But when it comes to chiropractic in general, right, it's just kind of like going and seeing any provider, right? Everybody's got a different specialty. So for us, I think we take the term chiropractic, we tighten that up, and we focus on like pediatric neurological focused chiropractic. So when people say, I just see a chiropractor, I already do that, I'm like, all right, well then riddle me this. What kind of scans have they done? What kind of, what is the HRV? Where are we in fight or flight? Where's that parasympathetic, sympathetic balance, right? And they're like, I don't know. We go and we just get adjusted. Point in case, right?
There's the difference right there.
So there is a difference, and that's where all these extra modalities, like in our practice, if there's not just one thing, and patients that are here can know that, like we're finding the OT that's going to be on our side, that already knows and practices like we do. We're gonna find the PT and the speech therapist, and we're gonna work through this, and the counselors, and everybody that we can kind of use that's on our team that's going to support you in the way that we know your child needs to be supported so that there's no alterations in the process.
And can I clear one extra thing on that? Like, why do you have to go back, or what is it that's, it's fixed? There are so many things that cause subluxation, which is essentially a distorted, dysregulated nervous system. Emotional stressors. We talked about them all today. The toxins. We live in a toxic world, wherever it's coming from, whether it's from our skies, from our shots, from our whatever, from our food. Viruses, bacteria, you got it. And then we got EMFs, and we got Bluetooth, and we got all these computers and blue light and all that stuff. That's vibrational, as well as our thoughts and the stories that we tell ourselves and the lenses through which we see life. And if we see life through a red lens, because there's a lot of garbage and stress going up into the brain, then we're going to perceive more stress, and then that's going to come out of our nervous system. So our thoughts and vibrations, our chemical stressors and toxins, and then our physical stressors. And because this is our environment these days, those are the things that dysregulate and actually cause problems in the spine, in the actual circuit board. So more than just, it's easy to understand how birth trauma can cause a vertebral issue, but even our thoughts and our stressors will tense the nervous system, which will then tense the motor system, which are connected to the bones, and then that causes restriction. So even a thought can cause a subluxation in the circuit board.
Well, what's a child always doing? Always growing.
Yeah,
right?
and they're always growing.
You know what? There was a growth spurt, and it's like, well, why are we not even holding an adjustment more than 48 hours, or why did we go right back? Well, it's because the body's not well adjusted yet, right?
It's
so we got to
about-
give grace. There's some pull with that.
And neurological resiliency. The less resilient the nervous system is to withstand the stuff in our environment, the more regular their adjustments would probably have to be. Until we build that neurological resiliency, then they need less frequent adjustments.
Yeah. So I see all these as like facts of life. Like, okay, yes, I know it's the thing that I have to do. It's like we have to work out every week because we know if we don't, then we're going to have problems in the future. But sometimes managing that, and I can speak from experience, can be very stressful. So Amy, I know you shared a little bit about your son, and I can also say from my son, there's some very dark nights of the soul where I was just carrying so much, so many therapies, so many chiropractor visits, so many different places that I had to go, medical appointments, like trying to get a diagnosis. It just can sometimes become too much. So what would you say to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely had moments where I thought, I just cannot do this. It's too much. I feel like it's stretching me beyond my capacity. I think a few things. Jessica, you mentioned having a team. I think when you have kids who have complex health issues or neurodivergence, having a really good team on your side is so very important to feel supported. We need to be supported as moms to feel, one, so that we can lower our own stress levels, because that's really the environment that our kids are spending the most time in is the home, right? And so when we can be regulated as moms, we are giving them that safety to grow in healthier ways. So that's really, really important. But I think, one, making sure that you have support is really, really important. And then focusing on where you focus your thoughts. So I really like to encourage moms to focus on what they're doing well. I think some of us like to rehearse where we maybe have gone wrong, but what evidence are you giving yourself for what you're doing well, what you're doing right? That can help you a lot, just connect with your own capability and your strength. And then also, I think sometimes it's not about adding more to your plate. Sometimes it's coming back and focusing on what's most important. And what's most important for our kids at the end of the day, they need to know that they are loved, that they are accepted. And if that's all you can give, you are winning. You are absolutely winning the day. So that's what I would say. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you're probably doing better than you think.
Well, I'd love to see if anybody has a question. You can bring the microphone. Oh, go.
This is for Dr. Foss. I just wanted to say how much I appreciated you sharing your story. I had a daughter who had seizures, and there's really nothing like holding your child and looking into their face. And so I got very emotional when you shared that, but parents of children with seizures will understand. I wanted to ask you, so you do pediatric neurological chiropractic. Do you work with adults too, or just kids?
Yeah, I do,
or?
because
Okay.
there's this thing called apples and trees.
Ah,
Yeah.
sounds good. Well,
Yeah.
that's good to know. My
But
brother.
I focus in on the pediatrics because that's where you can make the biggest, gosh, I keep thinking about, that's where you make the biggest impact on their life, because you've got so much potential out there in front of you. And then mom helps, again, the co-regulation, because a lot of times I've seen it where our kids get better results once mom gets under care, because they're co-regulating so much. And then once mom gets under care, it's wonderful. And then dad was usually, on the golf course.
For sure. Follow suit. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Can I do a little dog and dog? Can I dog and pony it right now with you? So this has to do with the input output, because I'm resonating with what you're saying with the stories that we tell ourselves, and how that can lock in our experience and how we see life. And when you change, I think there's this one dude out there, I can't remember his name, he said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. All right, I'm gonna do some, all right. Can you hold that? Sure. All right, so I'm gonna hold this. Okay. All right, great. Sorry, this is kind of spontaneous, but that's what I do. All right, so bring your arm right over here. So I'm gonna test the output.
Okay.
All right, so your output, what's that?
Turn sideways.
Turn sideways, yeah, so great, thanks. So this is the output. I'm testing output of our nervous system through this right here. That's the muscle. So hold strong, hold. Ooh, that's strong like bull. All right. So let's bend this way. And now I'm gonna test C1 and hold, and that goes weak, and then bend this way, and we're gonna test C2, and that's hold. So what I'm gonna do is use my gosh, it sounds all woo-woo, whatever. But I'm gonna use my electromagnetic forces that flow through my fingers. But honestly, that's the science behind it, all right? Okay. So I'm going to get right up here on the vagus nerve, and what this is doing is changing the input. So when she gets done with this, I'm going to have an afro. So let's breathe in and out. That's it. Clear signals create strong connections. So we're going to do this. Remember, that was strong. And now we're going to bend this way. We're just going to go camp budget and then bend this way and there and head back. We're going to test the occiput. Hold. Weak. Clench your teeth. Hold. These are all vagus nerve brainstem exercises, which is the vagus nerve. It's the master brake pedal. It calms the whole system down. So then we just breathe. Mm-hmm. And then we breathe. Mm-hmm. And then your kid sees it's in your hand and you say, I got you. Hold on. We're going to get through this. Same way, right? Head back. Got it? Clench your teeth. Got it. So that's how we change the input so that we have better output. And I don't remember what I was going to say. So that's that. So that's how we tune with kids with autism, because it's you can't touch them, and you can't they're because you can't. What do you do with the kid with autism? Because they don't even sit around, and I'm you just kind of gotta, you work with them. Yeah. So why did I do that?
Impulsive.
So I'm kind of a raging bull myself, that whole ADHD
I got
thing.
a test for that.
I know what you did it, so I could actually ask my question because it was in my head and I was just not, sure if I should ask. So I've been having my son in chiropractor care for the past 4 years. The first 2 years, it was just with a regular chiropractor that I had no idea there was a difference. Then I went into PX Docs.
PX Docs, that's my boy Tony, yeah. And yeah.
It was after a podcast. So now my son is with a PX Doc. But like you said, sometimes things happen at home, like your son, right? What are there or right now, what you did, is there anything that parents can do right at the moment when we're in a grocery store and they're losing it, or if we are anywhere where they're losing it, is there anything that we as parents can do?
Yeah, like where are some of those like circuit breakers that you can try to tap on or like hold? Gosh. Yeah, like vagus nerve exercises, what to do when your kid's freaking out or your what? Yeah. Yeah, did you hear me say that under
I'll
my
work
breath?
on him stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What are some things you do? I mean, you can tell them, yeah, take a breath, but they're going to look at you because I also know that your mom, like when your mom, it's like there's too much of an emotional. So maybe what we do as a mom, this is what my awesome wife does, is she doesn't escalate. This is what I got to learn from her. She doesn't escalate up here. She's just like, she can like take, so one is take your own breath. Calm yourself, because again, it's co-regulation. So, and I can give you a couple tapping points. You've heard of probably tapping, where you kind of tap on different areas to calm yourself down, because maybe calming yourself down will help calm your kid down. That's a horrible answer, maybe. Do you have any?
I'll just say, I feel like it is really important, piggybacking off of what you're saying, I do feel like it is kind of like this is so cliche, but the oxygen mask on the plane, right? You need to put your own oxygen mask on first, so when you're taking care of you, it really can impact, so in the moment, what's helped me a lot is just taking a breath, telling myself I got this, and then I can turn around then and be like calm and stable for my kid and say, we got this, we got this together, I'm here with you. But just being able to take a breath for yourself in that minute and knowing that it's really important for you to come back to calm first, and you'll make better decisions, you'll think more clearly if you can take a minute for yourself.
I think I'm probably not alone in I've been online researching until 3:30 in the morning because you go down these rabbit holes. And so it can feel really overwhelming knowing where to get started. I have a son who's 8 and we don't have a formal diagnosis, but we suspect some neurodiverse, stuff going on with him and ADHD possibly, and he's just very impulsive. And so it's like, okay, so do I start with a chiropractic? Do I start with functional medicine? Do I, start where do we threw away everything. We, change his diet. It's kind of overwhelming because I know there's a lot of information out there. And I know a lot of it, I feel like, right? But how do we know how to get started?
That's good. So I don't believe in one over the other. So I'm more of a team approach because we do completely different things. But we have the same end results and the same goals in mind. So like he explained was if you're surrounded by these viruses, that bacteria, there's a mycoplasma in the body, there's some strep going on, we've got Epstein-Barr virus that's reactivated, we're living in mold, we possibly have Lyme, the gut's dysbiotic, right? All of these things are going to impact the nervous system regardless. So if we're getting adjusted, right, then that's where some parents come to me and they say, well, I stopped going to the chiropractor because nothing was helping, right? And it's like, okay, well, did you have a team? I'm glad you're here. Like we said, first off, your child's blessed that you got to this point and that you've advocated for them. So that's our first step, kudos. And then we walk through, let's get that nervous system stable with the help of the chiropractic going hand in hand. Now, sometimes is there just some clearance that needs to happen from chiropractic? Absolutely, right? But then there's times you'll be doing well and then all of a sudden you won't be doing well because the body was faced with another challenge and or the detox patterns. Now, do I believe in throwing the kitchen sink at a child who's detoxing without a balanced nervous system? No. So again, we work together and I always make that a part of our conversations. Who are you seeing, right? And are they on my preferred list because I'm picky? And is that going to give us the outcome that we need?
Because again, I thought I was doing pediatrics because I've been in chiropractic since 2000. This is 25 years. I have a 26-year-old and an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. And so that's crazy enough right there. And come back around and do this all over again. My youngest is the one that kicks me in. But I thought that I was doing neuro-focused pediatric care, and then again, thank goodness for Hayden, because he allowed me to see what I wasn't seeing. And so I wouldn't have been on your list before, and if I would have been, I didn't. But now I'm like, so even in the chiropractic land, in our world, it's like, until you, and again, thank goodness for Hayden, because I wouldn't have known how much more I needed to know, and how much more I needed to help, to be able to help everything from seizures to ADHD to autism and sensory issues and autoimmune disorders, because, well, I don't want to go on that rabbit hole with my own autoimmune issue, but.
But when we're experienced enough and these concerns and these challenges just keep arising, we already know as practitioners which route we're going to go and what's going to make the most sense through the process, and where we may have to pause, maybe have to back up, may have to give each other a call and say, hey, where are we at? Hey, did you add new supplements, or is there a new detox protocol going on? Because this kid can't stick anything more than 24 hours and we are really having emotional outbursts, right? But that impulsivity, I will say a lot, the emotional regulation and impulsiveness, a lot of the times will be calmed through nervous system as long as we eliminate the challenges.
I think working with A-list people too, like her, and then the people that you surround yourself with, it's like birds of a feather, right? So, yeah, that's a good place to start.
Time for one more question if anybody is holding on to one. That side.
Okay, maybe that's a good one to end on. I recently went to some professional development for work, and it was really interesting because it was about building a rest ethic. So we always get told about having a good, strong work ethic, and that's like where all the focus is. So I guess my question for any or all would be, do you have a tip or like an idea for a practice that you could build into your day or build into your life to help improve your rest ethic?
Less is more, Amy?
Yeah, I would say sometimes I think we think of rest as like we have to escape our lives, and that we have to take this long pause. Sometimes it's not about escaping; it's about finding little moments for yourself throughout the day. So, I don't know if you're familiar with like finding glimmers throughout your day, which is just finding moments of joy where you can reconnect with yourself, whether that's like a beautiful sunset, or I like to go put my feet in the grass and just like let the sun shine on my face and just reconnect with nature, and it calms me down. But it doesn't have to be this long thing. It could be maybe a few minutes in the car, you're praying, or you're just taking a few minutes to sit down and just meditate. But it doesn't have to be this we're escaping our lives, but it's about finding little daily rhythms. And I think having those consistent moments can really make a bigger impact than we think. So I would encourage you to think about some of those things.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, I saw something recently on social media, and I thought it was written about me, where it said, you ever have a time where just because you feel like you're resting, like you just feel like you're not being productive because you're resting. And as moms and as entrepreneurs or whatever the story is, it's like, yeah, if I'm doing nothing, I feel like I'm not productive. And I feel like I should be doing something. There's so many things I should be doing. There's so many people I need to talk to, so many emails I need to get back to. Right? And so it's figuring out like where that balance can be, and taking that time. So whether you have to I always tell parents, like, set a timer on your phone, and it's like, that's your moment where it's like, okay, I'm gonna take 5, right? 5 minutes isn't gonna hurt the kids in any which way if you need to give screen time or if you need to do that, because if you're not there for them, then that's gonna not help you in the end of the day either, so.
I find that blocking out my time helps out a lot too. So I get as much done as I can in that block, answer all the emails, because I got a man brain, and men's brains work in sections, like don't cross the line here, and then women's brains are like a spider web of everything going around, and so don't be offended by that, but so because of all the sections, I then plan my space where it's like nothing gets in here, so I can just do less.
Well, awesome. Thank you three so much for your time and energy today. I'm sure that everybody wants to ask you more questions privately, but can everybody give them an amazing round of applause?